Assalamu alaikum, it's Khaliah here. Just taking some time to go live, and we're going to talk about how to automate your real estate investing business. I'll give a moment for some others to jump on, and then we'll go ahead and get started, inshallah. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Again, we're going to talk about how to automate your real estate investing business. And so one of the first things that I want to start off talking about is how to have allied resources, because these are people who are definitely going to shortcut your learning curve and being able to help you to efficiently run your business. And so you're probably wondering, what is an allied resource? Well, an allied resource is actually somebody that's in the business. Hi, Kia, how are you? I just got started. I'm actually talking about how to automate your real estate investing business. And so right now we're talking about allied resources, who are people that are also in the business. They're in the industry and they do something. They don't do what you do, or they can do what you do, but they may also just be another type of professional. So for instance, like you could have other real estate agents. You may have attorneys, your tax advisor. So these other people will help you to kind of shortcut and help you to run your business efficiently. So for instance, if you have an attorney, let's say you're working with a title attorney or you're running through some issues in your deal, instead of you trying to figure out everything on your own, you can just go to a professional who knows exactly what you need to do. I've had something like that happen similar this week. I was helping a student out with a deal. And it ended up being kind of complicated because in D.C. where I am, there are certain tenant rights. So the tenant basically has rights over anybody else that's buying. And so that kind of complicated the wholesale deal. Now, if somebody were teaching wholesaling all over the U.S., they may not be familiar with that. And so my student was just thinking, okay, well, she could just go in, she could wholesale the deal. But it really didn't work like that because there's certain underwriting rules when there's tenants involved in the sale. And so by being able to talk to an attorney who was familiar with the situation, she was able to tell us how we should go about wholesaling this deal. So attorneys are definitely good help. Normally you can just contact some that are in your locale and just tell them that you're an investor and you're looking to build up your network. And, you know, you want to try to meet with them and see how they can be of assistance to you. So attorneys are always looking to work with investors. Also, real estate agents, I would say for agents, if you focus on trying to find people who are new agents, they can be a great asset to you as well, because these agents can bring you deals, one, but two, also real estate agents can assist you with helping you to research your comps. So like, let's say for instance you find a deal, you're not really sure what the deal is worth, as is or after repair value, whatever it is you're trying to accomplish, or let's say you're trying to get a rental and you're not familiar with the market value, then basically you can use a real estate agent to get this type of advice. So instead of you, a lot of investors are trying to use all of these other tools that are out there that are on the internet, but basically your local real estate agent is always going to be a good resource for you. And of course, you want to talk to your tax person and make sure you're setting your business up properly. So whether you've decided you want to go for LLC or you're going to just start off as a sole proprietorship or what have you, definitely you want to have a good tax person. So again, your allied resources are other professionals in the industry that you can talk to and kind of run things by, who will help you to actually run your business efficiently. Then there are some other things that you can do to actually make your business run more efficiently. One of those things is actually getting your leads. So there's different ways about going to get leads. But one thing I suggest is, what I do personally is I get leads from the courthouse. And after I got tired of going to the courthouse to get the leads, then what I did was I hired somebody else to go get the leads for me. And I started off with an intern. This was back when the market picked back up and everybody was recuperating. But I started off with an intern. And so that person actually went to Howard University not far from me. They wanted to learn about real estate. So as an exchange, I taught them real estate. Later on, I helped them to get a real estate license. So to me, if you're kind of low on cash, you can't really afford to hire an employee, it's always good to kind of start off with somebody who's willing and eager to learn. So I would have that person. They would go to the courthouse. If the leads needed some extra research, because depending upon what courthouse you go to, excuse me, I'm getting over a cold. But depending upon what courthouse you're going to, will determine what extra research you need to do for your leads. So it will vary, even by state or by county. So some of the leads needed extra research. I would have the intern go in and research those leads, and I would even I even had them actually making calls to those leads. But again, you want to make sure that that's the right person for the job. Some people are better at more administrative things, and they're not necessarily, may not be the right person to be making your sales calls or your prospecting calls. So in that instance, what I did was I just hired somebody who's a virtual assistant, and then that person was able to set up my appointments for me. So they would call, they would set up the appointment. This person was overseas, so once they set up the appointment, then I would just have them put it on the calendar, and I would have somebody who worked with me internally. Also, my interns, I taught them how to do comparable market analysis, so they would know how to do the analysis. They could do the documents and everything to get me prepared for my appointment. And so they would have the documents ready. I was the one who would go on the appointment, though. And then I would meet with the seller, find out what they want to do. Once I found out how the seller wanted to go about the deal, like let's say if it was a wholesale deal, I would go ahead and prepare a contract for that. But if it's not a wholesale deal, since I am licensed, I would just go ahead and list the property, depending upon, whatever me and the seller negotiated or whatever, terms became an agreement with. And so then I would have somebody also internally, since the same intern, like I taught her how to do the contracts and things, she would just go ahead and prepare the documentation, and I would just go ahead and get it signed by the seller. And then once it's signed by the seller, you're pretty much just, if you're wholesaling, then you got to put it out there and look for buyers. So again, you can use the same intern to help you to put it different places, to be able to market your deal. You can have somebody advertise it on social media. Then there's like, let's say you're putting on Craigslist, or you have your own buyers list. You have someone, if you have an intern or someone that's helping you, because some of these things cannot be automated by a computer. And if you're not that tech savvy, you may not want to be spending that much time trying to figure those things out. So if you have somebody that's helping you, it makes things like a lot easier, because once you're able to reassign your agreement, get that signed, everything really just goes to the title company or the attorney to be able to prepare for settlement. So if your main job, like if you're training other people how to do these things, then your main responsibility is really just going on the appointments to go meet with the sellers to try to get their deal under contract. And also, again, maybe on the back end, if you're also meeting with new people, like let's say you're meeting with new investors and still building up your buyers list, then you could be going around to meet with people and just build up your buyers list and make more deals. So again, I definitely suggest starting off with an intern or somebody to help you. And then also having a contact management database, so having a database where you keep all your leads, because once you start off, you may start with Excel or whatever the case is. Like I would normally have the person go to the courthouse, put in an Excel spreadsheet, and then upload that sheet into a contact management database. And so then when the person was ready to make the calls, they could just log in with their login and start making the calls. So that makes things a lot easier than trying to manage everything from a spreadsheet, because you want to be able to see, like if somebody else were to log in, or let's say somebody quit or what have you, you want to make sure that you have a record of what the previous conversations have been with the seller. So maybe the seller told you to follow up. So follow up is very important. You want to make sure that, okay, when it's time for the next person to follow up or that same person to follow up, that all the information is there so that they can see what the last call was about. So it's very important, like once you start to get so many leads, you can use Excel for so long, but then eventually you want to have a database where you can actually keep your leads, because most of your money in real estate, a lot of it is made on the follow-up call. And again, we talked about hiring somebody who's an appointment setter. That person could be somebody that's paid by the hour, or you could just pay. If you have somebody that's willing, they're eager. You could even just have somebody that's willing to get bonuses and things like that for each appointment on the back, and maybe it's like a higher amount that they would get. And again, like I said, you want to get an intern, have them do the comps, and they can prepare your offers. And then as far as if you're doing any marketing, there are like starting off, of course, you may be doing a lot of it yourself. Like when I started off, all of this that I'm telling you, I was basically doing myself. And then once I saw what it took to be able to outsource it to other people, then that's when I went about that. But as far as like mailers, like at first you may be starting off, you're writing out your own letters. But then the thing about it is that with real estate, you don't want to be so bogged down with so many administrative tasks that you cannot go about meeting more sellers and building up your buyers list. So something's got to give. So if you're sending out letters, then definitely you want to try to get in contact with a vendor or someone that you could just upload your list to. Maybe, it's a friend or whoever. They can do the letters for you. It's that same intern. They can do the letters for you and mail it out for you. I've also used an intern to send letters out as well. At one point, I remember when the market picked back up and I was getting things going again. This was about 2011. But at one point, I had about maybe like 6 interns. And I would just kind of work with people to see, who was serious and who was not serious. Because some interns will start, then you see a couple of days later, they don't come back. So, but at the end, I was able to, after having like, let's say those 6 interns that I started with, at the end, I was able to see who was serious and later on offer those individuals employment and also other benefits, like as far as both of them got their real estate licenses, and then one of them was able to get her driver's license. She didn't have a driver's license. So there's different things that you can kind of work out with people. Just so that you can get your business going. Because once you have some commissions coming in, then you can kind of scale up your business. But definitely scaling up comes from working with other people. If you're just trying to do everything yourself, it's very difficult or very time consuming to get your business off the ground. Because I can say, like just in general, real estate, you can spend more time than money to try to get things going. Especially like if you're going to the courthouse, you're getting your leads, you're researching your leads, you're calling the leads, then you got to go on the appointments, you got to prepare for the appointment. So there's so many different things that you have to do to go through the deal to get it to the end. Whereas if you have somebody assisting you, even if it's just one person, I wouldn't even necessarily say that it matters. Of course, you want to make sure they're, of age or, they're at an appropriate age. But like I've even worked with people who were like 18, 19. A lot of people were very young. But they wanted to know about real estate, so I was willing to teach them so that they could help me with my business when I was getting things going back into the sales and the wholesaling route when the market picked back up in 2011. Because prior to that, I was pretty much focused on vacation rentals. So out of all of this that I've said, I know it may be a lot at one time, but I would just say out of everything, one of the last things that you probably really want to outsource is your appointment. And the reason why is because all of this, like especially like making the appointment and actually making the sales call, those require some type of sales skills. So if you hire the wrong person to actually make your sales calls and do the sales appointment, then they could be wasting a lot of leads and not getting you any appointments. So you need to make sure that those are the 2 things that you have the right person doing, the right personality doing, because otherwise you could be spending a lot of money and things are not going. And just from experience, like the best type of people to hire for your sales calls and your appointments, if you were to outsource those, let's say you're working virtually or something like that, it's impossible for you to be there. But the best personalities for those type of positions are people who have a D. I don't know if you're familiar with the DISC, DISC, the DISC test, but yeah, DISC, sorry. So the DISC test, the best personalities are people who have a DI personality. Those are the best people to hire for your sales type of positions. And then, of course, the other positions that I mentioned, the best type of personality to hire for those are people with your S and your C. So D is driver. I'm trying to remember exactly what all of them stand for. D is driver. I is for, I think it's influence. S is for steady, and C is for consistent. And so actually too, when I got to really started hiring employees, I would have people take a test, because that way I knew, and I would also have them do like questions and things like that. So I didn't just pick anybody off the streets. I would make people like do a questionnaire. Then I would do an interview, and actually part of the time I would even do group interviews so I could cut down on the amount of people. Sometimes I would get 100 applications, so I would really try to cut down and weed people out to make sure that I was hiring the right people. So, Keita, thanks for staying on. Do you have any questions just about anything that I've talked about so far? I'm happy you joined me today. Okay, well, I don't see any other questions, so I just want to say Salaam Alaikum. If you have any questions about anything I've discussed, please just make sure to just leave it below in the comments, and then I'll come back in and I'll make sure that I answer them, inshallah. So Salaam Alaikum. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and bye-bye for now.